Hello, welcome to this PriceAJob tutorial series on how to create a custom module in PriceAJob. In this video, we'll discuss some handy tips and tricks to finish your custom module. In previous videos, we discussed how to build an advanced custom module. Now it's time to complete the training with some handy tips and tricks. The first thing we'd like to do is hide our materials anytime the quantity reaches 0. If the required quantity is 0, we just don't want to see that material on our list. So to do that, let's enter edit mode by selecting edit mode here up in the main setup, and our interface highlights in yellow to let us know. Next, we'll select the material that we want to edit, and that opens the material edit pane. And then here, there's a checkbox called hide empty. So we'll check that and then apply. And now, if we exit edit mode, anytime our quantity reaches 0, that material will be removed from our materials list. Let's go ahead and apply that to the rest of our materials as well. So enter edit mode, select material, hide empty, and apply. Select material, hide empty, and apply. Select labor, hide empty, the same rules apply for labor as materials, and apply. Select this one, hide empty, and apply. And we'll do this one, the labor, hide empty, and apply. We'll skip these ones because these were accessories from the accessories component. So now let's exit edit mode, and I'll just remove these accessories manually here. So we'll just empty our accessories tray. And now when our quantity reaches 0, all of these other labor and material inputs will be reduced to 0, and they should all hide. There they are. So these all are now set to hide when the quantity equals 0. We could do the same with our accessories here as well. To do that, we would enter edit mode, edit our accessories component, and here we could change the visibility to conditional when QTY is greater than 0. And save. So now we can add some accessories here. We'll just add that. So now we have that. And when we reduce our quantity to 0, those accessories also disappear. Next, I'd like to make the title of our description dynamic as well, because currently it says 1800 by 3600 millimeters, regardless of what we actually have input here as the dimensions of our shed. So to fix that, first we'll enter edit mode, and then we'll click on our garden shed title. And here for the title, rather than having it as a fixed amount of 1800 by 3600, we'll put double curly brackets and input $ width times 1000. And now for the length, same thing, double curly brackets, input $ length times 1000. And this will still display as millimeters. So go ahead and save. And we get a confirmation referring to our variables pointing back to the main stage. So we can just go ahead and save. And now as we change the dimensions of our shed, 1.8 to 3.6, the title in our description also changes. Next, you'll notice that our stage titles here measure the quantity of each stage. So as we adjust the quantity here in our main stage, we see that the shed stage still reads 1 unit. So we want this to be dynamic to read the quantity component here in the main stage. So to do that, we'll select the Shed Stage Actions menu and Edit Stage. And then here under the tab Stage Amount, we can change this variable, which is currently set as a fixed number of 1. We'll set that to $QTY. And we can check the units here. We can change that if we want to. But I think in this case, each is probably appropriate. So we'll leave that as each. And we can also check the rounding here to set the number of decimal places that we want displayed for this unit. So 0 decimal places is fine. So we'll click Save. And now as we adjust our quantity here in the main stage, our shed stage reflects the number of units accurately. Let's do the same thing for the decorating stage. So we'll select the Actions menu and Edit Stage, and then go to Stage Amount and change this. And this one will be the full area of the exterior of the shed. So the formula for that will be rounded brackets, $, width times 2 plus $, length times 2. And that's the perimeter. And we'll multiply that by 2.5 is the height of our shed. And we'll multiply that by the quantity. And that will need a $. And the unit is currently marked as each. That should be square meters. So we'll just find something in the list here to match that. And then for rounding, we can set this for decimal places. Let's round that to a single decimal point. And then we can save. And now as we adjust our quantity, we can see the square meters of the decorating field change automatically as well. Next, I'd like to make these descriptions dynamic as well. And we can do that. We're still in edit mode. So to adjust these, we'll just click on the line that we want to edit. And now for supply and install garden shed, let's add to that line double curly brackets, $, width by curly brackets, $, length in meters, and save. And now as we adjust the dimensions of our shed, our description here updates to match that as well. Next, let's do the patio stones. So we currently have this set as a fixed number of 70 square feet. And we can make that dynamic as well. So let's replace that with double curly brackets, $, area. And we'll call that meters squared of patio stones. And we also want to multiply that by the quantity. So multiply by $, QTY. And save. And now as we adjust our quantity and our dimensions, our description also changes to show us how much patio stones are required. Next, let's do the same thing for the garden shed allowance. So we'll click on that, and rather than having a fixed amount here, let's replace that. We can keep the $, but the numeral amount we will change with double curly brackets and replace that with $, price multiplied by $, area. And save. And now as the price of our shed is adjusted, we can see the description automatically adjusts as well and also reflects the area of the shed based on the price we selected. Next, we'll take a look at the decorating descriptions here. So currently it says supply 2 tubs of wood stain, and we can do better than that. So let's click on that. And rather than having a fixed amount of 2, so the easy way around this is just to remove the value amount and just say that we'll supply tubs of wood stain, but we want this to be reactive to the wood stain that's chosen. So let's check our variables list to get the variable title. And here's the wood stain, but what we actually want is the wood stain title. So let's go ahead and copy that to our clipboard and close our variables window. And now we can paste that here into our formula and save. But you see that it doesn't show up here in the description properly. And the reason is because we are asking it to render a text word, whereas usually formulas are being used to render numbers. So because this is going to be text, what we have to do is put this within single quotes. So we'll put a single quote at the front and a single quote on the back and save. And now it renders this as the stain that we have chosen. And if we go down to the drop down and choose a different stain, our decorating description is completely dynamic now. But we sort of took a shortcut to skip the exact amount of tubs that were required, and we can do much better than that. So let's go back into that same description again, and let's update the quantity of tubs required. So let's replace tubs with this formula here. This is double curly bracket, math.round10, bracket 2.5 multiplied by $ width times 2 plus $ length times 2 end bracket plus $ quantity divided by 4 comma minus 2 close bracket double closed curly brackets. Now what this formula all means is math.round10 is a rounding function, and this is going to round it to decimal places, and it relates to this number here too. This is -2. This is going to be 2 decimal places. So math round 10 minus 2 rounds us to 2 decimal places. 2.5 is the height of our shed, multiplied by the double width and double length is the perimeter, and that should not be plus quantity, that should be times quantity, times the quantity of sheds that we have, divided by 4 is the coverage of our sealant. And we'll just put at the end of that a liters symbol of wood stain title. So let's just save that and see if it works. Nope. Let's see what the problem is. Go back in. Okay, and this is an easy thing to miss. For this formula, we have to leave a space in the beginning and put a capital M for math, and then save. There we go. 10 liters of Seco tintable solid exterior. So let's just try changing that to something else. And we can see that our stain is dynamic, and let's change the quantity. And we can see that the liters of stain required is also dynamic. So let's change that to our default values. 3.6 and 1 shed. There we go. So our description now says that we will supply 6.75 liters of stain. And if we check that against our estimate, we can see that that is roughly accurate, because we have chosen to round our quantities here. If we exit edit mode here and go back into our settings here for project settings, we can take rounding off of materials, and we can see that actually we are requiring 6.75 liters of stain for this job, but they don't sell it in 3/4 tubs, so we'll keep that rounded to 7. There we go. And if we want our description to match our estimate here, we might just want to go back into edit mode, go back into this, and rather than rounding to 2 decimal places, we might want to leave that at 0 and save. And there we go. Now our description also matches 7 liters, the same as our estimate. And I see here that there's a space there. I don't really need that space in front of the L, so we'll just remove that and save. And I guess that should be a capital L. So go ahead and replace that with a capital L. There we go. Save. There, much better. And let's see how it looks when we exit edit mode. Okay, that looks good. But one thing I do notice here, though, is that as we change our quantity, it is not reflected here in the description. So let's go back into edit mode and back into our garden shed header. And let's add onto this quantity, and we'll put the formula in closed curly brackets, double closed curly brackets, $QTY, and save. Whoops, and I spelled quantity wrong, so we'll just jump back in and fix my typo. There we go, and save. There. So now when we exit, as we change our quantity, we can see that the quantity of sheds is also described here in the description. Now, when we change our quantity to 0, our materials are all removed, but our descriptions still remain. And I'd like for them to have the same behavior as our materials and labor. So let's go back into edit mode, and we will select our description here. And you'll notice at the top there's a tab here for visibility. When we select this, we can choose to either show, hide, or set a condition. So in this case, our condition is going to be $QTY greater than 0. And save. And now when we exit edit mode, we'll see that that item disappears when the quantity reaches 0. So let's go ahead and go back into edit mode, and we'll just go into that one there that we just did and copy that formula and go into each of our other descriptions, go to visibility, conditional, paste, save. Next, visibility, conditional, paste, save. Next description, visibility, conditional, paste, save. We'll do the same for decorating. Go down to this description, visibility, conditional, paste, save. And lastly, visibility, conditional, paste, save. And now we can exit edit mode, and when we reduce our quantity to 0, all of our descriptions disappear as well. And you can continue finessing your custom module until you get it exactly the way you like it. And then when you're ready, you can save this as a template for future use. So go to the bottom here and select Create Template. And here you can create a new template. And if you've made updates to it and you just want to update the template that you've already saved, you can replace it. But in this case, we'll just select New. And then we can choose a location for this one, and we'll choose the landscaping category. And we don't want to call this one simple. This is our advanced module. So we'll call this one Garden Shed Advanced, and save. And that has been saved now to our landscaping module here. We have the simple module that we saved previously, and now our new one called Advanced. So if we delete this module, rather than rebuilding it from scratch, we could just go to our landscaping category and select Garden Shed Advanced, create, and here's our complete module. We can increase the quantity to show all of our materials and labor and descriptions. And then here we can look at the Reports tab and see our quote with our variable descriptions and updated quote. I think we have one small problem with our pricing here, so let's go into edit mode and let's look at our price component, and we can see, oh, there's the problem. The default value is 0. Let's set the default value to 100. There we go. Save. There we go. That's better. And now we can go back to Create Template, and rather than saving a new one, we're just going to replace the one that we've already updated. We can select this from the drop down, Garden Shed Advanced, and save. There we go. And that covers some handy tips and tricks to finish your custom module and completes the custom module training series, for now anyways. We look forward to bringing you many more tutorial videos covering various other functions of PriceAJob. Please feel free to get in touch with any questions, requests, or comments. Thank you for using PriceAJob.